So this video is going to be kind of a part two to the last video that I made, and it's going to be talking about why you shouldn't spend time, or rather waste time, in environments and around people that you don't belong around and that you have no business being around. Now, how can you tell? First and foremost, how can you tell that you don't belong in an environment, or that you don't have business being somewhere, or whatever? What I'd like to say when it comes to this is, what I'd like to say when it comes to this is, if people tolerate you at best, which means that usually they don't tolerate you. If you're constantly being treated with negativity, with hostility, if there's constantly clashes between people, between you and people in that environment, or the people in general, if you're around people that have substantially different values to you, or that live substantially different lives to you, then you don't belong in that environment or around those people, right? Another thing, if this is a particular point, right? If these are your so-called friends, right, and they treat you like shit, they never invite you out anywhere, they don't value your opinions, they constantly ditch you, they treat you like trash, like shit, this also applies, right? You don't have business being around them. And I'm going to say this now so that I can get this over and done with, because I've got experience with everything I talk about here. If you associate with so-called friends and they keep treating you like shit repeatedly, get the fuck away from them. I don't care how long you've been friends with them, okay? Those people are not your fucking friends. Get away from them for your own safety, because those people are dangerous. You don't know what kind of evil shit they're cooking up in their cauldrons, right? What kind of evil stuff they're planning to do behind the scenes. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend for you guys, first and foremost. Now, remember my points on like those points, right? Another thing I want to add on is, if there's a lot of hatred towards you personally, which kind of adds on to that negativity, a lot of competition, a lot of comparison, a lot of like surface level beliefs, that's an important thing, right? A lot of surface level values, like for instance, when I was dealing with a certain Christian, she asked me, "Oh, when are you going to have children?" And she just kept talking about continuing the bloodline, which just made me laugh, because that's not really, that's kind of a pointless thing to do. Like, that's not a reason to have children, in my opinion. I mean, I'm a practical antinatalist. I don't think anybody should be bringing children into this world right now, looking at the way that it is, right? But theoretically, I'm not an antinatalist, theoretically, because of the problem of non-existence. So it's like the ultimate contradiction in a way. But that doesn't mean I'm not practically an antinatalist. In practice, I am an antinatalist. Now, anyway, this is not an antinatalist video, so back onto my points. If you're receiving negativity, conflict, clashes in certain environments, if the values don't align at all, if you can never get agreement on things, or very rarely or seldom, right, then you don't belong in that environment, right? If, for instance, let me give you an example, right? The main place where this happens for most people, myself included, is high school, right? That is 5 years of bullshit and comparison and negativity, surface level bullshit, hatred, bullying, all that kind of stuff that you can't avoid. And if you try to avoid it, you get thrown into juvenile detention. So you have no choice, no matter what you do. And this is the environment that most people have to go through. This is the environment that most people are forced into. Myself included, I didn't have a choice, right? But then you have to endure all that toxicity, right? The comparison, the bullshit, right? And it's not good for your mental health. And if you think back to your experiences at high school, right? If you did go, if you're lucky enough not to go, count your blessings. But when you think back at it, right, all that bullshit you had to deal with and wade through, right, it fucked with your head, didn't it? Like, for me personally, I've had a lot of PTSD, anger problems in general, due to my experiences in that place. And also more generally, like, I don't associate with like religious people, so mainly Christians and Muslims, because they always judge me and they don't listen to my arguments mainly, and they're very much like absorbed into their own like ideologies and worldviews and stuff, and they don't have objective thinking. For instance, when I was dealing with a certain woman, right, I think I've talked about her here, but she asked me, "Oh, when are you going to have children?" right? And she's a Christian. And I told her, oh, I'm never going to have them. And she's like, oh, how are you going to continue your bloodline and all this stuff? And it would get to the point to where every time I'd interact with her, she would always bring this stuff up. And so, and you know, I was chatting to someone else around her and her like family and stuff, and I started like critiquing his Christian religion, and then he started threatening me with hell, which really pissed me off. So for my own mental health, I cut myself away from that, right? But anyway, I want to go back to the high school thing. The reason I mention high school is because that's the prime environment where this shit happens, right? All other options in life are optional pretty much, unless you have to do something for your job. Like for instance, if you're like a cleaner, a street sweeper or something, or a binman, right? And you're trying to cover for like a high level business meeting or a high level political meeting or something like this. That's a little different, right? Like you don't belong there, but it's not like you have to interact with the people, right? So it's a different dynamic. And I want to go back to the high school thing because, for instance, if you're like someone that's like a comparative loser, I hate that statement, by the way, because what are you judging someone for being a loser on? But if you're someone that's at the bottom of the social hierarchy, the fake social hierarchy in there, and you interact with like the playboys or the so-called popular kids, right? That's going to be a clash because you as a person, for instance, even if you're like, I'm going to relabel it. If you're someone of like higher intelligence, someone who, is not controlled by the body, and, you're interacting with these like lustful, horny, privileged people, right? And, empty-headed people most of the time as well, right? Then it's going to be a constant clash there, right? And things are going to go wrong. They're going to try and force you to live like them. They're going to try and make you conform to their values, right? So, it's not, don't waste your time doing that, right? Don't do that to yourself, right? And, even if they want to like associate with you, don't associate with them. Don't allow them to be friends with you because you can't be friends due to the nature of the relationship, right? You don't relate to them on anything. You don't have business being around them. You don't have common interests. You don't have common values, right? They live a completely different lifestyle to you, right? Their mindset is completely polar opposite to yours. Their mentality, just everything about them, right? So why would you waste your time around people like that, It's, you have a lot more better things to be doing with your time, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to end the video here. Leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed. I'm interested in your guys' comments, so if you have any opinions on this video, any agreements, any disagreements, leave them in the comments and I want to respond to them. I am going to respond to them. And please keep it respectful in this video because certain videos that I've made before addressing these topics, right, I've gotten certain people, like quite very few, but, I've gotten certain people, directing negative comments towards me personally, and that's not on, right? And you guys remember that video that I did, right? If I see any negative comments directed towards me personally, they will be getting deleted. Anything else is fine. Any criticisms or agreements of my ideas is perfectly accepted. That's what this channel is for, but just no negativity towards me, please, or anyone else in the comment section. And because, it just keeps this environment nice for everyone. Another thing as well, when I reach 100 subscribers, I'm going to be releasing a long awaited for video. I've been waiting for it for so long that I've planned it out even before this channel was restarted earlier last year. Well, halfway through last year. It's going to be about religion. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I've written the script for it, and I'm going to be doing it as soon as I reach 100 subs, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for listening rather, and peace.